Hello, I am Xarkun. This is World of Warships Legends. Today I've got a game for you in the Premium Tier 7 Global XP German cruiser, Prinz Eugen. It is played for us by the Monk 52, whose name you should recognize. He was with me in a division during my stream on Sunday. I've featured a few of his replays before, and he himself has some pretty good content on YouTube. You can find his channel by going to my channel page. It's one of the channels that I have featured there, and I'll leave a link in the description below as well if you want to take a look at the Monk's body of work. This game is an excellent showing in the Prinz Eugen, and it goes right down to the wire. Now, I won't spoil the results for you, but I will tell you that things fall apart fairly rapidly for the blue team in the beginning of this match. Before we get to discussing that, though, we should talk a little bit about the Prinz Eugen. It is basically a lot like the tech tree German cruiser Hipper, from what I can tell. It's got the same number of guns, same caliber of guns, and probably pretty much the same stats, or at least very similar stats all around in terms of gun performance, maneuverability, concealment, and the like. The major differences come in two forms. One is consumables. Both the Hipper and the Eugen have access to the excellent German hydroacoustic search consumable, which I think is capable of detecting enemy ships out to a range of about 6 or so kilometers. The Eugen has access to this consumable, but it can forego that consumable in favor of a main battery reload booster. Now, the Monk has opted to not forego the hydroacoustic search in favor of the main battery reload booster, and I believe that is a decision that is going to serve him well later on in the game. And to be frank, the utility of the Sonar consumable is probably a lot more valuable than a main battery reload booster consumable on the Prinz Eugen. Although, if you have the Eugen and the Hipper, and you want a little bit of a different flavor in terms of gameplay, you might instead equip the main battery reload booster, although I think doing so would probably put you at a little bit of a disadvantage. The other difference between the Hipper and the Eugen comes in the form of torpedoes. Now, the Hipper has torpedoes that range out to only 6 kilometers. The Eugen, on the other hand, has torpedoes that can travel a little bit further. I believe the range is 8 kilometers, and those torpedoes are going to serve Monk very well. Now, in the time that I've been talking, things have already started to go south for the blue team. They have lost both of their friendly destroyers. I think one of them was in a division with Monk. In any case, both have gone down. The enemy team still has both of their destroyers, one of which, I think, is still in the vicinity of the Alpha Cap. Right now, the Monk is shooting at a Kutuzov out there. Ah yes, there are some torpedoes, by the way. I think probably detected by the Monk's sonar. There's some more coming toward the friendly ships, so that destroyer is definitely in the area, perhaps in that smoke screen, and in fact, there he is. He gets spotted somehow. Monk fires AP at him, given that's what he has in the barrels of the guns, and he loads the HE, but it's not necessary. The friendly Atago takes down the Udachi. Looks like that's one of Monk's division mates, I think Runny Evil, who was also in my stream on Sunday. The torpedoes sent the way of the Udachi by Monk are going to do absolutely nothing now, but that's fine. All that matters is that the Yudachi is gone, and the blue team has entered the Alpha Cap, and looks like they have a good chance of securing it, which they desperately need to do, given that the enemy team has somewhere in the vicinity of 340 points to their 140 points, and they've only got 4 ships left versus 6 enemy ships. Now, the monk here is turning to starboard initially, but he's going to revise his strategy and turn to port as Runny Evil comes this way. Looks like they are perhaps communicating with each other, given that they are in a division, and they're going to approach the cluster of enemies near the Bravo Cap from different directions, possibly in an attempt to set up a crossfire situation, which is a good idea if, they can count on the help of the teammates who are not in their division, which is always a bit of a dicey prospect. Anyway, Monk here is heading north past this mountain to get into a position to fire at presumably this very low health Kutuzov, who he could finish off in the span of a single salvo using the Prinz Eugen's excellent armor piercing, especially if this Kutuzov is not expecting him to appear in this location and is being cooperative by showing broadside. Kutuzov knows he's here now. Kutuzov is in a turn. The turn will expose enough broadside to Monk for him to land a citadel and take the Kutuzov out, which means it's now a contest of 4 versus 5. The only problem is 2 of the friendly ships are cruisers, one being the Prinz Eugen and the other being the Atago. Both excellent ships, but they're facing a destroyer, a Wichita, and 3 battleships. Now, they do have 2 battleships of their own, so this could go either way. And the Wichita is getting some well-deserved punishment there. Somebody hit him hard for a nice salvo. Monk is lining up. He's launched torpedoes in the gap there, hoping to take the Wichita by surprise with them, but he fires a salvo of armor piercing, takes off 4,000 hit points, not enough to finish off the Wichita, who I assume is now wise to his presence and is not actually going to come this way. There is a Richelieu, just as the Monk gets detected by the Wichita's radar. His torpedoes peter out without making contact with any enemy, and both the Richelieu and the Wichita should probably know that Monk is in the area. Luckily, the Prinz Eugen has 27 millimeters of armor plating, and the 3 remaining battleships do not have guns of the size needed to overmatch 27 millimeters of armor. The Richelieu has 380 millimeter guns, and the Odin, well, there are 2 Odins besides this Richelieu in terms of the battleship composition of the enemy team, and neither of them can overmatch the 27 millimeters of armor either. The Wichita is the biggest problem here, given that he is incredibly difficult to kill. He's giving broadside to the Monk and just being overpenned by the armor piercing. Once again overpenned, but the final shell in that salvo is a citadel that thankfully takes the Wichita down. Now, there's very little the Richelieu can do in this situation. He's far too close to Monk's Eugen to get away from the torpedoes. And of course, the Eugen has 12 torpedoes, 6 on each side. So the first salvo does hit the Richelieu, does a lot of damage to him, and the second salvo is ready to go and finish off the Richelieu for, I believe, Monk's 3rd kill of the game. He's up to 100,000 damage now, and the lion's share of that has been done so far by the torpedoes against the Richelieu. Monk is hoping to do exactly the same thing to this Odin out here. The last remaining friendly ship on the team is a battleship who is behind Monk right now and is going to square off against the Eugen. There, the Monk detects the last remaining Yudachi inside of his smokescreen with the use of that sonar. So you can see that choosing that instead of the reload booster has turned out to be profitable. Probably much more profitable than the reload booster would have been, and the upside is the sonar is still running, so any torpedoes launched by either the Yudachi or the Odin are going to be spotted by Monk in quick enough time for him to dodge. And there is the torpedo spread from the Odin. Doesn't look like the Yudachi launched any at all. Unfortunately, one of those torpedoes does catch Monk on the side of his ship, which is a big problem. It takes away a lot of his hit points. I think that was 11,000. Just bad luck there, really. The spread of torpedoes was so narrow that looks like the Eugen probably could have fit right through it, but just not quite. Anyway, that last remaining battleship has lost his fight against the other enemy Odin, probably because he got too close and was taken down by torpedoes. Monk is the last hope. Luckily, his sonar is still running, so it detects the other spread of Odin torpedoes, and this time Monk is able to successfully maneuver around them. He is now launching torpedoes at the Odin, and it looks like these ones might have a better chance of hitting. The Odin has, up until this point, dodged quite a few of them, but Monk is desperately looking to make this Odin his 5th kill of the game. The torpedoes are on target, they strike the Odin, take him out. Monk gets a devastating strike, and the Kraken Unleashed to go with the high caliber medal he's already earned. The lion's share of the damage here has of course been done by the torpedoes. He's got 10 torpedo hits. Seems to me like the actual main armament of the Eugen here is the torpedoes rather than the guns, but I digress. Anyway, it is Monk with fewer than 10,000 hit points versus one remaining enemy Odin with tens of thousands of hit points, most likely. So he's got an uphill battle to climb here. He's going to have to kill this Odin in order to win. Can he do it? Well, he does light a fire there on the Odin, and the Odin chunks him in the superstructure with some armor-piercing shells for some over-penetration damage, which, in the grand scheme of things, is not a lot, but when you have fewer than 10,000 hit points and you lose 2,000 of them, well, it's just not so fun. Another armor-piercing salvo from the Odin. This time it does 0 damage because it bounces off of the Prinz Eugen's armor, which has absolutely no problem shattering and bouncing Odin shells. Torpedoes don't look, actually, like they're going to hit, which is a big problem. The Monk really needed those torpedoes to hit, because now he's drawn far too close to the Odin, and the Odin's secondaries are actually, at this point, a huge concern. Monk's only hope here, really, is to take the Odin out with torpedoes. Looks like the ones on the starboard side of the ship are reloaded, and they are out. But Monk has only 651 hit points left, and 90. Can the torpedoes hit? Well, no. He gets taken out by the Odin's secondaries, and the game is lost. Unfortunate result, but excellent attempt by the Monk to carry there. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to both mine and the Monk's channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.